And then if it starts echoing, just let me know in the comments that it's echoing and I will try to figure it out. So, welcome. This week we are going to be talking about different types of fill patterns that you can do on your rhinestone projects. And at some point, we will also have a giveaway for another Bling project. It will be similar to the one that we did last week. So let's see. Welcome, Cassandra. Thank you for joining me. Sandra as well. Oh, Cassandra, you were our winner last week, right? Hi, Teresa. Hi, Lori. And Miss Mona. Miss Mona, I'm hoping we got the gremlins figured out in the computer with the orders for the Bling boxes for this month. So the Bling boxes too, I am putting the finishing touches on those, and those will be going out on Tuesday. I will give you guys a little hint. In this month's box, it will be, there's going to be a wine tumbler in there. I'm putting the finishing touches on the pattern that I think you guys will like a lot. So I'm very excited to get those out to you. For those of you who don't know about the Bling boxes, every month we send out a Bling box that has, let's see, it includes 5 to 6 full-size rhinestone products, so 5 to 6 10 gross of rhinestones in varying different sizes. Then I include 1 to 2 patterns to go with the project, and then there's either 1 or 2 projects. Pretty much every month this year, I have been putting 2 projects in there. Usually it is a larger project like a tumbler, and then there is a smaller project, like I did like tic-tac-toe boards in 1 month. There was like these honeycomb designs in one, like pop sockets, things like that. And then the patterns that go with it coordinate with the stones, so everything is kind of themed together. The boxes do include free shipping, and you get exclusive discounts on future orders that you could only get by being a member of the box that month. It's not a subscription box. You're not subscribing to everything, so you can get 1 month or you can order as many months as you want. Ordering starts on the 15th, and then I ship between the 1st and the 5th. So if you have any questions about that, there are a few boxes left for this month. We only make a limited amount, and then they go out. Most times I only buy enough product to make a specific number of boxes, and then once they're sold out, they're sold out. Sometimes when I get restocks in for rhinestones, then I can remake a few, like I did a few months ago for a few people. But generally, once those boxes are sold out, if you didn't get on the pre-order, then you would have to order everything individually. So for this week's live, I'm going to be showing you guys different types of fill patterns that you can use on your projects, whether that's a tumbler that you're working on, pens that you're working on, and maybe you want to do a sign, you're working on a wood project, things like that. There's so many different things that you can rhinestone now, pretty much anything you can rhinestone. So there's different types of fill patterns that you can use to achieve different effects on the projects that you're working on. So I'm going to go over, there's 7 of them that I can show you. And if we have enough time, I will try to show you all of them. So if you have any questions about those, post your questions. Now is the time to ask them. I want to help clarify anything for you guys on the different types of fill patterns. There is, I see a lot that there's the same patterns that different people have different names for them. And generally it's the same pattern, the same fill. People just call it something different. So I'll kind of go over a couple of those that you might see. Different people call them different names. So with the patterns that I'm going to show you, I'm also going to show you kind of like what the difference is if you don't paint your surface or if you put them on a painted surface. Most times if you're painting, you want to paint the background a color that's very close to the color of your rhinestones. So the colors that I'm going to use, and I'm going to pop off this camera of me and just have just have the one oops. Where's it going? This one. Okay. So we will just have this camera. So the stones that I'm going to be using, these are orange AB. We did just add these in like 4 different sizes. Before, I only had a lot of the ABs in the multi-pack. So we now have 11 different AB colors in FF6, FF10, 6, 10, 16, and 20. So there's like orange, peridot, amethyst, jet, sapphire. I forget, I will show them all. And then I also added the opal colors. So those are very, very pretty as well. And with the AB stones, pretty much what it means when there's like AB after the color name is they have a coating on them. And it's an AB coating. So it's the base rhinestone, so like a base orange color, and then on the top of it, they put a coating that gives it this iridescent shimmer effect. And they call it AB after Aurora Borealis. So like the northern lights. And it just gives the rhinestones a different effect. So for this, I'm going to start with the grid pattern. And I'm just going to do a couple lines on each side. And with this one, you're basically just stacking the rhinestones in straight lines, either horizontally and vertically. So I'm just going to do like 5 or 6 of them in rows so that you can get an idea of what this will look like. And you can use any size of the rhinestones that you want. Right now, I'm just using 20s so that you can see a little better. And actually, let me zoom in for you guys so that you can see. Hopefully that is better. So you should be able to see that. And then I'm going to do it once on the painted side and then once on the unpainted side. And I'll just put these on here. So you can see with the painted side that kind of like the gaps in between the stones kind of blends away when the background is painted. You can see the gaps more when the background isn't painted. When you're working on like tumblers or stainless products, if you don't paint the background, it's not like the end of the world because that gray color kind of blends in with pretty much a lot of the colors of rhinestones anyway. And if you're not leaving large gaps in between the stones, you're not really going to notice it. So with the grid pattern, all you're doing is stacking the rhinestones in straight rows, going horizontally and vertically. Oops. And then I will do these 2 rows. And then for glue, I'm using super tight fusion tack. It is probably my go-to glue for a lot of the projects that I do. It works on the tumblers, wood, fabric, leather. You could use it on shoes if you wanted. It really is a versatile glue for a lot of the stuff that you're going to work on with rhinestones. Oh, shoot. I did all of that and you guys couldn't even see me. I'm sorry. I was so focused, ladies. Let me fix the focus. So I do apologize. I'm so sorry. So you can see with the painted surface, the rhinestones pretty much blend in. And then if you have a light surface and a darker color rhinestone, you're going to see the gaps in between. And it's really up to you if you want to paint the background. It's really just like a personal decision. So the other pattern, if you wanted, what else you could do is you could do like the deluxe grid pattern or the premium grid pattern, where you take a smaller size rhinestone. And for this, I'm going to use SS6s. And then I'm going to put a tiny little dot of my glue right in between. And then I'm going to put the rhinestones right there in those little crevices that were created. The key to doing this one is you have to make sure that your lines are completely straight. If your lines aren't straight, then when you go to put these rhinestones in, they're not going to fit. And see, that one is not completely straight. And for this size, I'm using an SS6 to go right in like the corners of the SS20s. If you were using size SS16, you would want to go down to like a 4, an SS4, to put these right in the center. Normally, when I'm doing this pattern, I will do one row. I find it easier if I do the row of the larger stones and then do the row of the smaller stones instead of doing it how I'm doing right now. So like I'll alternate back and forth between the two sizes. It's easier to line everything up when you're doing that instead of trying to like put them back into like the little crevice, because you're going to create the space that you need as you're placing them. And sometimes it's hard to get the tiny little stones down into the little corners. And it just takes a little bit longer to do it this way. So I'm gonna put these in here. Oh, come on. So this pattern is, we're starting with the grid pattern, just stacking the stones. And then we're making it like a premium. A premium pattern or a deluxe pattern, because we're going back in and adding the smaller stones. So if you were doing this on a project that you were going to sell to a customer, don't forget to charge like double for this, because it's going to use twice as many rhinestones to create this project. So not only are you doing your normal grid pattern, but then you're going back in and adding the smaller stones, and it's going to take you twice as many stones, but twice as much time to create this. So you can see now that after we put the smaller stones in there, you can't really see the background. So it really wouldn't matter if you painted the background on your surface. Granted, painting is going to make it, pop and look, more professional, but you really can't see the background when you do this type of grid pattern. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to let me know. The other way that you can do this, and I'm not going to do as many, this one is what some people will call the cushion pattern. I think of it more as a dual honeycomb pattern because of how you're placing the stones. You're really just using two different sizes of rhinestones. So with a normal honeycomb pattern, you are placing the stones in a row in straight lines. And then when you get to the next row, you're going to shift the stone over into the middle of the stones in the prior row so that they nestle right into the little crevice that's created. You don't want to pack these stones in there. You don't want to push them so that they're super tight, because not every one of your rhinestones is going to be the exact same size, and you need to allow yourself room to make adjustments as you go. It's more important to keep your line straight than it is to have them packed tightly. You're not going to notice the little gaps that might be created between the stones. So that is the simple version of the honeycomb pattern. You're just doing rows of straight lines, and then every other line you're shifting your stone over halfway and placing it in between the little crevice that was created by the openings in the circles. So everyone who has joined us, welcome. Let's see, Ernestine, welcome. Miss Amy, hi, how are you? Hey, Amy, I'm going to send you a message either tonight or tomorrow for the Bling box, since it's not going to ship until the 1st. I don't want you to have to order. The more I thought about it, it just didn't sit right with me that in order to get the Bling box, you had to make an order. So I'm going to refund the order that you made. I do have your address so that I can ship you the box, but I'm going to refund you that order. Like I said, it just didn't sit right with me that you had to purchase something in order for me to send you the box. So I will feel better if I go ahead and refund your order. So I will send you a message after, either tonight or in the morning, and then we'll get that worked out. So you will still get your Bling box and all of that, but I didn't want you to have to pay for an order, if that makes sense. So, okay, so this is the honeycomb, and then to do kind of like the deluxe version of the grid pattern, what some people call the cushion pattern, I think of this more as a dual honeycomb pattern. And I'm just going to put down some glue so that we can do this. You're just using 2 different sizes of rhinestones. So for this, I actually need, I like to use either SS20 and SS8 or SS6s. So I'm going to use the 8 for this so that it is a little bit easier for you guys to see. If you're using 16s, SS16s, I would recommend using the 6s. Otherwise, these might not sit right. So you're still placing straight lines, but every other stone you're alternating between the sizes. And the key is to make sure that this smaller stone is lining up in the center of the row, like all the tables, which is the flat part of the rhinestone. You want all of these to be lined up. So whether it's the small one or the big one, you want all of the tables to line up. And then when you do the next row, you want to line up the tables this way. And then you're just alternating back and forth between the sizes. The smaller the rhinestone is for the second one that you're using, the tighter the rhinestones are going to sit together. And that's why with the 20s, I recommend using a 6 or an 8. If you use a 4, there's going to be a lot of space around the stone, and you're going to end up pushing them like too really, really tight together, and it just doesn't look, it'll look okay, but it will look so much better if you use the 6s or the 8s with this. So you're just lining these up. And it's going to line up horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. So if you're ever doing it and something just doesn't look right, just look at it in all of the different angles. And then you will pick up on whatever stone is throwing it off. So let me finish these. So someone's asking, what filler would you suggest for SS16? If you're going to use SS16 for this type of pattern, I would recommend either a SS6 or an SS4. And I can show you that in 1 second. I'll just do like a little 4-pack of those. So with this, I'm using 20s and 8s. So everything's lining up diagonally with both of the colors. And the key is to lining up the small stone right in the center of the big stones going up and down. And as long as you get the big stones lined up correctly, then the smaller stones are going to fit in there right. And when you're doing, you can do a lot of really cool patterns, alternating the different colors, doing this cushion or dual honeycomb pattern by using like the different colors. Like on one of the projects in the bling boxes, we had we did like the stars. We created the stars with the smaller stones. You can create so many different cool little things better than you could doing like the honeycomb or the grid, because these are basically just straight lines. And with the honeycomb, everything has to line up like diagonally. With this, if you don't want it to keep lining up diagonally, you can use the smaller stones to create or add like a 3D or a different like dimension to kind of like the designs that you're trying to make. So there is that. Hi, Miss Gina, welcome. Is 8 the biggest size you recommend for cushion? So let me show you guys. I think I might need to grab some 10s really quick. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab some FF10s. 6, 16, 12. Of course, I don't have any right here. These are yellow, so you'll be able to see it a little bit differently. We're not going for perfection. So if I put these are 10s, right? So if I use, which ones, where'd they go? So if I use 20s, right? If I use a 20 and a 10, you can do these. It's just going to be the way that the 20s start to fit in here. It's going to make your project look really wide. But if you want to use 10s, you absolutely can. You get to decide which sizes you want to use. For me, my preference is to use the smaller sizes, because I think the 10s with the 20s create bigger gaps between the stones. And if you're not painting the background, you tend to see them. They're a lot more noticeable, basically. So you absolutely can use 10s, but it's going to be, you can see that it's a little bit wider compared to using the 8s. And it's just because they're a slight bit bigger. But it's, however, if you like this, if you like them being wider and spaced apart more, it's really up to you. I think with the 10s, though, is you don't get a good connection for the rhinestones to touch between here and here, which is why I like using these, because then everything is touching on at least one side. This just creates too much space for what I prefer. But then if you were going to use 16s, which, Let me do these. These were I think these were 8s. So these are the 8s, a SS16 and an 8. The 8 would be the biggest size that I would go between the 16. Otherwise, the sizes are too close and you're going to create bigger gaps. And I don't like the way that that looks. But again, it's up to you if you want to use the 10s. So I will just put these. Where were we on this one? So for anyone just joining us, welcome. My name is Shannon with Bling Your Things. I'm showing you guys different types of fill patterns that you can use when you're creating like your tumblers or your pens or any kind of bling project that you're working on. The most common types of patterns that you're going to see is either the grid pattern, which is basically just stacking the rhinestones in straight lines horizontally and vertically. And then the other most common is the honeycomb pattern as well as the scatter patterns. For the honeycomb pattern, you're laying straight lines. And then on the second line, you're shifting that stone over halfway and putting it into the gap that was created from that previous row. And then you just alternate that back and forth. What we're working on here is like a premium fill pattern. Some people call this one like the cushion method. I think of it as like a dual honeycomb pattern because I'm doing the same thing with the honeycomb. I'm using that second row to put it in between. I'm just alternating between two different sizes. So with this one, everything's going to line up straight lines. The table, which is the flat part of your rhinestones, that's what you want to make sure that you're lining up, whether it's the bigger stone or the smaller one, because that's where your eye is going to be drawn to, is that flat part of the rhinestone. So as long as you're making sure that you're lining that up, then everything else is going to line up and look great with your pattern. So this is 16s and 8s. You could go smaller with the 6s, and your 16s are going to be tighter together, but I wouldn't go with the 10. With the 10, they're too close together, which is these. You're going to have bigger gaps than what's happening here. But play around with it. Play around with and figure out like what you guys like. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's really up to you on what you want, on how you want your project to look. If you get like a multi-pack of rhinestones, like ours have from SS4 to SS16, you can kind of play around with the different sizes together and kind of see what it looks like, and see what you prefer. So let's see. If you guys are on Facebook, just know that I can't see your name. Oops, let's do this one. So if you want me to see your information, you can go to the website that's on the scroll at the bottom, and then you can allow the permissions and I can see your name. If you don't want to do that, you can join us over on YouTube and then I can see your information over there. So let me see what questions you guys have. Lori, yes, we can see your comments. Gina says for resin stones, would 2 mm be ideal for a filler? So 2 mm is generally like a size that converts to like a SS8, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So like the 2 mm converts back to like a SS8. It just depends what the bigger rhinestone is, the bigger size that you're using. So if you're using like a 2, which would be like an 8, and then a 16 or a 20, which would be like a 4 or 5 mm, they would look, it would look fine. If you're using the same color rhinestone, the gaps that are created between the stones are going to be less noticeable than if you're using 2 or maybe 3 different colors. So really, kind of just what I recommend to people sometimes is before you commit to putting the stones in the glue, get like a white piece of paper and then just do like a practice run. Lay your rhinestones out and kind of like how you want, how you're envisioning it to look. Just lay out like a couple of them, like maybe like a 10 by 10 little square, and then kind of see like what it looks like. Like, is it gonna look okay? Are you liking the way that it looks? And just play around with it and see what you like before you commit putting it into the glue. And then maybe you ruin the rhinestones or you can't get the glue off at that point. So, oops, sorry. Someone's asking, what kind of glue are you using? I like the tip on that one. So I pretty much always use a syringe with a blunt tip needle. So this is a 5 ml syringe, and then this is a blunt tip needle that these lock into the syringe. So you put it on and then it twists on. This one is a 20 gauge. I prefer this size because of the amount of glue that comes out. The other size that I might use is an 18. So I'm going to say it wrong. The bigger the number, the smaller the number, the bigger the hole. So with the 20, I like the hole size that it has and the amount of glue that comes out. It gives me like precision and it puts the glue exactly where you need it. Now, if I'm using like a 2-part epoxy, generally I'll use like a silicone tip tool and I won't use the blunt tip needles with those. But we do have the syringes, the 20 gauge and the 18 gauge blunt tip needles on our website if that's something that you're interested in. So I think, let's see, where are we at with time? We're at 40. So 1 second. So for the giveaway tonight, we are going to do, this is similar to what we did last week. I'm going to do, can you see that? I'm going to do another one of the acrylic tumblers with 30 gross rhinestones. It will be the Crystal AB in SF16, the Cyan in SF16, and you'll get 20 gross of the Cyan. So you'll get 30 gross total plus the acrylic tumbler. So the way it will work is you just need to enter in the comments the keyword, which this week the keyword is #scatter. And then at some point I will pick from everyone who enters in the comments, whoever entered #scatter, and then the system will go through and pick a winner from there. So the way that will work is I'm not doing where you have to make an order with shipping before I ship something out to you. So instead, all you will need to do is order something from our website that is free, like one of our patterns. We have like 5 or 6 different patterns that are free. If you order one of those patterns, I will have your contact information and your address. And then in the notes at checkout, just put today's date and then bling giveaway. Then I will know to give to get the Bling project out to you because you were the winner, as well as I keep track on our side as well. So I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, if you do not live in the US though, I will ask that you do cover shipping. International shipping can be very expensive, and unfortunately that's not exactly in my budget for giveaways for international shipping. So if you do not live in the US, I will ask that you cover the cost of shipping. That would be it. So let's see what other questions you guys had. Sandra is asking, are SS16s easier to keep in a straight line or SS20? I would say they're both kind of the same. The only difference is that the 20s are bigger. It really just depends upon the project that you're working on. If you're doing like a tumbler, the key would be is to make sure that your very first line, you're keeping that straight. If you get that first base row straight, then all of the rest of your rows are pretty much going to fall in line with that. And take your time. Go back, look at it, make adjustments as necessary. Don't be afraid to kind of move things around. The other thing is as much as you might want to think that like you need to put everything so close together, it's actually going to be more beneficial for you to kind of loosely put it there. Like I say, they need room to breathe. Like your rhinestones need room to breathe because not everyone is going to be the exact same size. So if you get like 2 that are larger and then one that's smaller, and you kind of push the smaller ones in tightly, then you're going to end up where your rows start to like get crooked, and it's going to be harder the more that you progress to keep those lines straight. So get your first row straight, make adjustments as you go, and don't pack your rhinestones. Don't cram them all together, and then you should be good. It wouldn't matter if you were working with 10s or 8s on creating your design, as long as you take your time and you kind of look at things as you're going and make sure that things are lining up. It really doesn't matter what size that you're working on to keep a straight line. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to post them, and I will answer them before we get off. I'm not sure I'm going to say your name right. Is it Ira? Is it Ira Nay Customs? So how do I store my rhinestones? I'm an accountant. I'm a CPA. So I'm a very organized person, if you will, which is also why I like doing rhinestones. So, Renee, sorry about that. Which is also like why I like doing rhinestones, because it's like freedom, it's creativity. So I store my rhinestones in our kits. I have, and I need to zoom the camera out so that you can see. So I have these cases. So they have the little locking things on them. And in them, it has, 12? It has the 12 containers with the screw top lids. And these fit, you can probably fit like 50 gross of SS10 or smaller. You can fit a little bit more than 10 gross of SS16, and then you can fit about 8 gross of SS20 in each one. So I like this because like I can keep everything color coordinated by size. And then my son plays soccer, so we travel a lot, and sometimes I'm just kind of like sitting and waiting. So these have removable dividers. So I can take out the little dividers, and then I will put in my syringe. I'll put in my pickup tool. I will put in extra glue, as well as I can put the small green shaker trays in here. I don't have any right here. But I can like rearrange these little things to put everything that I need for like rhinestoning on the go. So I love these. I love these containers because they have like, you know, they work for a lot of the things that I'm doing. And I can keep everything like color coordinated by size. So this is what I use. There are some other ones at like Michael's that I used to use that are for like scrapbooking. They're kind of bigger though. They're more like a suitcase kind of looking. It's really, again, like whatever works for you. I know there are some like smaller containers that have flat lids. You can use those to kind of stack things. So, you know, whatever works for you. So thank you for that question. No, that's a good question, Renee. All right. So any other question? Any other questions that I can answer before I will go ahead and pop the giveaway screen up here in a second? I didn't go over all of the patterns. The other one that I didn't go over was the scatter pattern. And this one is really just randomly placing your rhinestones in different orders. I recommend using at least three different sizes to start with. And then you can go up to 5 or 6. You don't need to start with 5 or 6. You can do it all one color. You could do multiple colors. With this one, random order, however you think they fit best. This is my preferred method because it's literally, to me, it is so freeing to just place things in a random, haphazard way, and then in the end it comes out looking like beautiful and amazing. So it's like the only time in like my day that, you know, I can kind of just do how I feel, and then in the end it comes out looking amazing. So there's that one. And the other one was kind of like the contour one, which is kind of just like outlining like your project and then using smaller stones as you go along. I posted today on the website under the bling tips, there is a blog post that has the 7 different fill patterns and additional information about it. And it has this picture there that you can go to and look at. Like if you want to look at like what the different patterns look like, how they will kind of lay out. In the description, it has kind of like the different sizes that I would recommend for doing the different types of patterns. So you can find that on our website if you ever want to go back and reference it. I think you can save like this picture to your computer if you wanted it for reference. But if you go to our website and you go to the Bling tips page, this should be the first or the second blog post listed right there. So if you wanted to review that at any time, you can go there and take a look at it. Amy, I'm not sure. I asked the correct color to buy for longhorns. An Aggie. So you're talking college colors? Is that what you're meaning? Like college football colors? I would have to go look. I would have to look and see what their colors are, and I can let you know. I'll kind of look at what their colors are, and then I'll post in the Facebook group if I have colors that would match that. And then Scatter has you in a chokehold. No way. No way. Just like let go. Just let go. I promise you, it will look great in the end. It will look so great. Don't you have to embrace the gaps. You're always going to have gaps. There's no way that you can place circular objects right next to each other and not have gaps. And honestly, we're the only ones who see the gaps because we're doing it. So embrace it, trust the process, and just go with it. And I promise you, when you're done, if you take your time and you're not worried about covering every tiny little space, it's going to look great in the end, and you're going to be so excited. Don't let it have a chokehold on you. There's no reason it should. So, all right. Let's see. If you have more questions, please feel free to post them. I'm going to go ahead and do the screen share. So again, the way that it will work is I'm going to give away the acrylic tumbler, and if I still got them right here, 30 gross of rhinestones, which is 20 gross of SS16, and then 10 gross of crystal AB. If you are the winner, all you need to do is go to our website and purchase one of our free patterns. And this will give me your contact information so that I can ship the Bling kit out to you. You're not buying anything. You don't have to enter your credit card information or anything like that. It's really just so that I have your address and you know that you're contacting directly with me. In the notes at checkout, put whatever today's date is, 7/27 Bling kit giveaway, and then I will get it out to you in the next day or two. If you do live outside of the US, I will ask that you cover the cost of shipping. We only ship in the US, so our website would not let you check out anyway. So if that happens, please send me a DM and we will work it out between us. So the keyword was #scatter. So you have about 5 seconds to enter it if you haven't already entered it. And then I will go ahead and do the drawing. So, oops. Oops, sorry about that. All right, so here we go. Let's see who the winner is. I'm sorry, I'm so terrible at saying names. Adelita Guerrera, are you still with us? If you are still with us, you are our winner. If you are not still with us, you do need to be here to claim. You do need to be still on the live when we announce the winner. If you are not here, then we will go ahead and pull someone else. So we will give Miss Adelita a few more seconds to go ahead and claim. And if there she is. Congratulations. Congratulations, Adelita. So all you need to do is go to our website and find one of our free patterns. I'm pretty sure either the 2 or the 3 color ombre tumbler pattern, which would work perfect on this tumbler. That is a free pattern. You can go ahead and add that to your cart and check out. That will give me your address so that I can get everything shipped out to you. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If you haven't gotten a Bling box for this month, they are going to ship out on Tuesday. We do have a few left. So the Bling boxes, every month, they are kind of like a themed project. It comes with 50 to 60 gross of rhinestones, 1 to 2 projects, 1 to 2 patterns. I most times throw in other little stuff with it. And then you get free shipping, you get exclusive discounts on future orders. And the week after the boxes ship, I do a live training and unboxing so that we can work on the project together. You can ask your questions. So if you haven't gotten one, you only have a few more days to do that. And they will be shipping out on Tuesday. And other than that, thank you all for joining me. And I will go ahead and let you get off for the evening. As always, any questions, please post them in the group. We are just over 2,300 people in the group right now, which it continues to grow every single week, which is just amazing. I appreciate all the love and support that you guys give us. Any questions, I'm here to help you. Post them in the group and we will make sure that you are on your way and succeeding in your Bling journey. So with that, I will let you all get off for the evening. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. Good night, guys.